To be fair. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to whatever I'm now calling this.
The B team, the B squad.
It is the B squad. Speaking of that, I am Mr. Brad Chester, and I am here to my left with. That's you, Brandon. That's when you pump it.
Oh, I still
You
don't
should
know.
have. You should have yelled line.
Line. Well, second member of the B squad, Brandon Valley with Still Frosted Gaming.
And Brian Horton, that judge guy.
That guy. So Detective Quintero was on top of things today. He's like, this probably has something to do with the Champions Cup announced. And I'm like, maybe.
Would be.
Well, and the thing is I was thinking a lot about it because I wanted to couple the conversation today with what's the best type of 40K, but obviously I love teams. But like then you get into what type of teams, what type of singles, narrative play, should we do cash prizes? There's a lot to talk about with that, with the type of 40K and the direction that you want our hobby to continue to go. Luckily, the hobby's still growing. The amount of people playing it's still growing. The amount of people putting on tournaments is still growing. You have lots of groups coming together to do things. So I want to talk about that today, and I want to engage everybody that's going to be watching today to also give me your opinions on this kind of stuff, and we'll yap about that also.
So kick us off, Brad. What do you think?
Yeah.
How are we starting this?
Well, first
So-
off, go ahead.
We know that your favorite type of tournament is teams tournaments.
It's
so
Latin.
this is where we have to clarify the types of teams tournaments. We're not talking about a doubles tournament, which used to be referred to as a teams tournament.
Doubles
We're
is
referring
not.
to
Doubles is
a-
not. You know what? I love that. Sorry, I'm so on board with what you said. That doubles is not a team tournament to me. It is also anybody that plays in doubles and takes it way too seriously. No, bad. No. Doubles is an event where you have some drinks and you laugh about things and you bring the ultimate goofed up rosters and stuff and then just enjoy yourself. There's other things that are very competitive. 5-man teams, very competitive. I mean, really, any of the larger 4+ events can be very, very competitive, cutthroat events, but well, what do you want to have with that? What is your favorite in size? I'm going to go to Brandon first because you've played 8-man, 5-man, 4-man, and doubles. So
And doubles. And doubles by myself or something. So I think any of those formats depend on who you're paired up with. So I saw in the comments that Brian wanted random teams, and I would not want to be in a randoms doubles event. In theory, it sounds fantastic because you get to play with new people. The problem is you get to play with new people. Sure, there are some people who are really fun, but then there are people who may take it way too seriously or may just not be that fun to be around, period. And I don't know if I want to commit 3 to 4 hours for one game to play against somebody who's not fun or with somebody who's not
make
fun.
people fun. Also, Robert Baker.
I could try.
Robert coming in with a $2 super chat. The answer is, of course, teams. I do want to go to the side real quick. As usual, I'm gonna be shiny thing in chat because we have Mike coming in with no cash. Do dope custom prize support and more widespread prize support, please. 100%. Anna comes in with, teams more fun than singles for sure. Cash prize just meh. Want to be competitive, but don't, if you want that cash prize energy. I've been behind that for a while now, and I'm not pooing on anybody that gives cash prizes, but I don't want to put that kind of mojo, that kind of energy out there. It's completely fine to play your best possible 40K, but in the end, it's a game, man.
There are people who try very hard for a $50 first place prize, and just blatantly cheating. at events just because they want to have the victory of going first and winning first place. But like
It's just
cash prize is going to make it worse.
yeah, it incentivizes that kind of behavior, though. And the thing is that
Sure.
we do a bad job. You know who does a great job? AOS. They basically say, you're not great for our community. Here's the lever that puts you in the lava pit. See you later. We're just bad at that.
Yeah. So my way of looking at it is, when we're talking about events, I clearly was joking with the random teams. I think they're just fun. I think that's something you do at a local RTT level. That's an entirely different thing, right? I'm not talking about doing it at a big GT, anything like that. So let me put that out there. I love 5-man teams. I think 5-man's a great number. You can typically get 5 guys together for a team. It's a ton of fun. The strategy's a little bit different from the 8-man teams. The 8-man teams, I think, is where the ultra competitiveness of teams hits. And it's very fun, very intense, very interesting. It's just a little too much for me as a player, but I really like the 5-man teams.
I think 5-mans are easier to get together. While I prefer, because I enjoy the pairings, I like the game within the game of the pairings process. And 8-man pairings has a ton of complexity, but it also makes it so that you have at the bottom you have so many different options. Because when you do 5-man, you usually get 4 of the same and possibly 1 outlier. When you do 8-man, you have to come up with, all right, these are the must-haves that every single team's going to bring, and then you go into those last 3 lists, and those can vary quite wildly, and I love everything about that.
Yeah, and again, I've only done 1 8-man teams. I don't have your level of experience with it by far. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a ton of fun because I got to be the outlier army because I enjoy playing those, kind of like Brandon does. So it was very fun, very interesting. But I knew a lot of the times I was taking the teeth. I was taking the teeth. I was that guy trying to squeak out 4 points.
Ooh.
11-man teams. I don't think there's ever been
Dorian,
such an event.
Dorian actually said that here in Mexico, cash prizes are common and it's not fun. I can understand that, to be honest with you.
So I don't know the answer to this, but I after doing some research into other things I thought were legal, they're not legal. Could you even do a cash prize tournament in some states in this country?
Not in some states.
Not in some states because it's considered
Because
gambling.
I can't even have a paid for raffle with really cool prizes. Like we can't do it 'cause it's illegal in half the states.
And the thing is that I'm pretty against that. It's not even the idea of cash prizes. It's just where the things go. That's why I'm such a big fan of prize support going more towards the middle and the bottom. And then basically, if you're a winner, you get a cool plaque. Just something that the organizers basically said, I appreciate you showing up and doing well at my event. Here's this unique thing. It doesn't have to be expensive, but like the big stuff should go to everyone else. I firmly believe that because if you're winning stuff, you probably have means to get that stuff.
And I'm a huge fan, like the Best in Faction award. People love Best in Faction awards. They're fantastic. They're fun. If you include a hobby score in that and make Best in Faction how well you did in the tournament plus hobby score, people just go nuts over it. They really love it. It encourages everyone to stay and play games and have a good time because, like, man, yeah, I'm going to go 1-4 at this 5-round event, but I'm pretty sure my hobby score is better than Jim that went, 2-3, and I think I got him. And then they wait till the end to see who got the hobby, the Best in Faction thing. And it's enjoyable. And people really do stick around for those when you're giving away prizes in that level. People stick around, they celebrate, they clap, they enjoy being there. One of the things that I dislike about some events that I've gone to is you get to the end and there's 5 guys left and it's like, okay, yeah, here's your prize. Have a good day.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit because the thing is I'll give you props on that. I really enjoy your guys' your ceremony, whatever the hell, award ceremony, because of the fact that everybody's basically there unless somebody had to catch a plane right now kind of thing. And because you give away a lot of stuff, there's a lot of Best in Faction. There's also raffle. There's also random prizes. I love the smoking boots, middleman, all that kind of thing. It's just, you can get a huge prize. I mean, you guys' raffle was for a whole army. It's crazy. Peach's Destroyer coming with $2 super chat. How do you know what makes a great team? Space Wolves and booze. You're not wrong. That's science.
100% correct.
That's
You guys
science
were
right
very
there.
successful at Michigan GT doubles.
That's right. That's what we
I
had.
will say that when I did 3-man teams a few years ago, I really enjoyed playing in the 3-man teams event where they did was 1,000 points per army. 2 people paired up, played a doubles game, and then there was a one-on-one small game. I really enjoyed that. It was very fun. It wasn't a serious event, but it was a really enjoyable, lots of drinking event. It was a good time.
Ooh, I'm gonna go back to that a minute. I want to go to Dice with Rice comment real quick because it's exactly the way I feel about it. He goes, I'm all for making the best two prizes overall and best painted. And then my philosophy on this is I will never win those, and that's fine. And that's how I've been for a long time, and I'm totally okay with that. So it's a big deal. And then I just love seeing people that are especially best in factions and the people that are like spend a huge amount of time in the hobby making great conversions and display boards and cool shit like that be rewarded. I like to see that more than you scored more battle points. Cool. Yeah, your own award, man. Here's your scratch and sniff. You know what I mean? You got a sticker. Good job. Go sit down.
Well, there's so many cool prizes now where you could do something like that. Between 3D printing, laser engraving, now GW is actually offering merchandise. Like I saw them doing a partnership with Displate. So now I could get a metal poster that is any 40K stuff. Do I want it? Not really, but it's a cool prize. Like I can hang that up in my room and no one else is giving those away. Like those are cool prizes. So you can make it memorable and it
like
not be a battle box.
The inexpensive thing I do for best in factions, right? Because I like to do the big overall prize for like best Xenos, best Imperium, best Chaos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those 3 are a little bigger of awards. But then I give away medallions, which are basically like like medals that you wear around your neck for your best in faction. They don't as a TO, they're like $5 a piece, right? That's pretty much my cost on them, $5 to $6, depending on where I get them. And I can get them customized for not a whole lot of money, and they're nice. And people like them. It's a little thing that they get to hang on their wall, put next to their shelf, put next to their army. It's good fun.
I just love small stuff like that. It's really nice. It's just also like anything that's unique to your tournament. It doesn't have to be like
Legos are more expensive. Legos are more expensive than 40K.
That is true. It's a big deal in that. But I love to get something that just is from Du Bois, is from this, is from Adepticon. I want like a specific thing, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be a huge big thing, but just it's nice to get something novel and unique.
Yep. And one of the things I'm adding this year to my events, this upcoming year, starting in 2024, will be Judges Moment, where we see something that we vote as judges, who are the guys who are walking around the room and seeing most of the games. That's just an outstanding moment that came from somebody's game that we witnessed.
Dude,
I love Hunter's idea.
I'm going to the wall on this. Holy shit. Best prize at an event I went to was the Slay the Youngling Award. It was a legit Sith lightsaber. It was awarded to a first person to beat the youngest player at the event. Oh, did I tell you when they were trolling me, by the way? New Orleans, last year, 2 years ago, time is meaning this to me. In the semifinal round of that tournament, I played the youngest player in the event, and I was the oldest player in the event, and people kept just coming up to make fun of that. Like a diapers versus wheelchair match. I'm like, screw you guys.
Wheelchair
Isn't that half a
depends.
diapers versus diapers match?
Yeah, true.
Diapers versus depends.
No, man. But I want to go back to something you were saying on it, Brian, which is you said the 3-man wasn't that serious, but I had a great time. And the thing is what would you rather compete in? High-end events that are very competitive? Because I've had a huge amount of great times playing very competitive 40K. I play competitively, you know what I mean? I won a bunch of stuff. I play very hard. I try to win that stuff. But I also want to have a great time. And we were just talking about what tournaments I'm going to for the rest of the year. And I'm leading into tournaments that I can just be way more casual and just concentrate more on good time and less on what I'm trying to win with and stuff like that. Where's your head at as far as what would you like to see more of? And it's the argument, of course, of I'm the casual versus the competitive. But I think that a lot of times they're the same people It's just you sometimes want a different thing.
So you're looking at it from for me, right?
Your opinion on it. I'll go to Brandon right
so-
afterwards.
I'm going to give you two opinions because one's my personal, what I like to do, and what I think I would like to see more of. I want to see more mixed events. I want to see a serious GT run on this side of the room, and then I want to see a narrative event over there, is what I would love to see. Because I think that draws from both player bases that are out there and available and will go to events, and it'll make for a more fun overall communal event. I want to play in more events in general. I will go to either because I like having fun. So that's kind of my opinion. I really want to see some of the more serious tournaments go, hey, and here's our narrative event that runs side by side if you are a narrative guy. And who cares if the narrative event sells 20 tickets when you're selling, 100 of whatever? Give room to those 20 players that would not come otherwise, other than to play with a narrative event. The guy who runs the narrative stuff at LVO has preset scenarios. He gets people together a month ahead of time. They set up storylines, the whole 9 yards. It's quite interesting, and I really want to play in it at some point.
I've got two things. I'm going to go to the wall real quick, and then I'm going to go back to Brandon. Probably goes, I like one of the things is how GW and others do brackets, that you get to reset and then play people with skilled other people, which I do like a lot. The other thing is like, with our 3-day events, is there any chance that we could ever go have a day where people can, kind of like when we did the last day, top 8 kind of thing, which I kind of hate compared to brackets, but also just have an option for like the narratives being on a Sunday, so that if you'd like to jump in, because there's a ton of times when I keep thinking about getting into more narrative events, but I do want to play on the competitive side. And on a Sunday, maybe if I'm not going to win the event, I might jump into that narrative and just enjoy myself with something new. Get God in the middle of the thing. $5 super chat from Robert. Brad, can I add you another TTS team tournament? Sure. But by the way, Robert's pairing process for the team tournament and TTS I'm in is screw Brad, he'll figure stuff out. Just sets me on fire and goes for it. So love it.
I mean, so I think doing Sunday narrative events is good. I actually kind of want things to go to like a 6-round event for Saturday, Sunday, even though I know that makes Sunday a little longer, and then have your narrative event on Friday.
I wouldn't hate that either.
So
I would like to take part in more stuff. It's one of the things that I love about that I've been doing in Adepticon is for forever. Maybe like literally 15, however long Adepticon's been around. I did singles, then teams. So I played 4 days of 40K. And I never got to see anything. And now I've basically show up at the same time, but now I've been playing just the teams, and I've been bumping into different people having workshops and paint things, and I'm hanging out at Alan's, helping with the display board. Basically, they send me to go get things. But, I get to see a lot of things that I didn't get to see before. And I've done that the last 2 Adepticons, and I've had more fun just wandering about and not playing in the championships than I had in the championships. Even, I'm not taking anything away from the championships. It's just, it allowed me to go see more things, and I got into some board games, and I played in the Long War doubles. You know what I mean? It was just a good time. And I'd like to be able to do more of that, but I don't really want to miss my competitive things also.
So KR, the one thing about narrative events, especially LVOs, they are over a course of a couple days. They're also 2 games a day, so it gives you the evenings kind of free for a lot of stuff. That's kind of why I like the idea of doing some of the, I don't want to call them split tournaments, but you have a dedicated narrative event going on at the big event. So the people who want to go play the big competitive event can, and the people who want to play the narrative can play the narrative.
I'd like to do both, though.
Well,
Yeah.
I think, Brad, with your idea, the problem is time.
Yeah, I know.
People aren't going to commit to going to a 3-day tournament every single weekend or every other weekend, right? we have such a limited amount of vacation time in the United States where people just aren't going to allocate time to go to a tournament when they have family functions, they have anniversaries, they need to use it for 6 days as well. Now in Europe, I mean, maybe this is a thing that they're able to do. And they had the London GT, which played into Monday, which I've never seen before, that event. So I don't know. I just don't think it's very realistic.
They do that in England. That's their thing. Hold on for a minute. I want to go to the super chat real quick from Matto. Matto Fighter super chat, thank you very much. Underrated theme. 2v2s where people dress up and go all in. MCM guy having pulls for the Golden Nurgling and pimp themed Necrons were top notch. True story. There was some awesome stuff on that. We'll go into Jaguar.
having the themed events, that's one of the things that I give Adepticon a ton of credit for, is their themed stuff is super fun. That's one of the reasons I like their 4-man doubles event, whatever they call it now, their teams event, because it's just really laid back and fun. And yes, there are people who take it very seriously, who play it very seriously, but the hobby side of it's a huge aspect of it. And having those themes is a big aspect of it. That's why it's a ton of fun. Also a ton of fun to judge.
I'm a huge fan. I'm still a big fan of the Adepticon team tournament, just because of the fact that it still encompasses your overall winner. Basically, they rank everything by pure just overall score, which is theme, comp. Well, a weird theme comp is like one score, but your theme, your painting, your spirit, you get an award for that, and then your battle points. It's really sick. You know what I mean? You have to have like a really good team, and in years past, they've punished you very hardly for comp scores and stuff if you spammed. You know what I mean? If you just took whatever the new hotness is, you just couldn't win with that. It didn't matter how well you did in battle points.
And Zach, you are correct. Drinking each other under the table is what makes it a ton of fun.
I was just typing that.
I was like, one of my favorite Adepticon teams is the Tiki Brothers, or the Tiki Boys, because honestly, they get everyone annihilated. It's absolutely a fantastic time. I have seen people start the morning playing them and not be able to finish part of the second round, where they've just sat down and go, I need a break.
That's their strategy.
You know, I'm going to give it...
Right, this is 100% their strategy.
Dude, I'm going to give you like a hardcore prop on this, and also the fact that you got set on fire. Hunter goes, Highlander tournament, you can only have one of anything, no duplicates. One of us in this chat ran a tournament like that and got burnt down by the internet for doing it.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. It was a ton of fun. I still like Highlander tournaments. I think they're very enjoyable. I think they're really good one-day events. Doing a full GT with them is a little bit difficult because people have a hard time committing to that idea of I'm going not to just be super competitive. But it's fun. It's a good time.
I'd play in a Highlander event. I find it fascinating, trying to get the most out of every Tipla unit. I would also play in a tournament I've seen once, and never repeated again, where every person playing has to play the same exact list. Oof. It was like a 1 day, like, here's your set space. You get to play Space Marines. These are the units you can take. That's it. You don't get to change out war gear. You don't get to change out weapons. This is your list.
Did you go to the one that they had? It was around here. I can't even remember if it was the leader or not. I should have. They did a tournament where everybody brought basically the worst list they could possibly bring, and then what you played randomized, so you got somebody's army. Every single game was a different one, and everybody was trying to give somebody a terrible army. So you had to play with whatever.
I've gone to one of those. I've gone to one of those and gotten 6 tactical squads with no upgrades.
Yes,
it was super fun.
Here are these gun drones. No.
Oh my god. Zach says that he's the only person to play Tiki twice in different years. Yeah, man. If you play the Tiki gods, that's just what you're doing for the day. Like, how's your day going? Well, you're not gonna know because, well,
this sounds like a fantastic problem to have.
Oh, those guys are great, man. Peter and fucking Jared and the boys.
Were you there when the team from Buffalo played the Tiki gods and one of them was trying to do wizard towers and counting each Tiki as just one cup on the tower?
Yes.
And I was just like, oh, you guys are going to be dead by the end of the day.
Well, Brandon has one of my favorite stories when he went trying to toe to toe with your alcoholic brethren. And I walk up to the tables. This is at the team event, Adepticon team event. And on one side, it's a super serious game, and then I walk over and who are you playing? You're playing who are you playing? Was the other
Wasn't
side
that
of the boys?
Chris Courtney.
Wasn't it?
I was playing as Chris Courtney and
It was Courtney and Hoban.
Hoban.
You were playing
Oh,
Courtney
yeah.
and Hoban, and I walk up and I just go to the table, and Brandon just runs at me and goes, "We're doing shots!" Blah, 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 blah. And I look at Courtney and Hoban, and they're both still like mildly buzzed. I go, "Ooh, you guys are losing." One's passed out. Brandon's running in circles, like Def Comedy Jam style. Like, oh God, whose idea was this? He's like, "We're doing kill point shots." I'm like, "Ooh."
It was great until weapon destroyed results couldn't bring down a storm rating.
Yeah, true. It did. Uh-oh, Peach is coming to the $5 super chat. Hear me out. As a Spacewalk player, go to the table with a case of Coors Light. Tell your opponent for every silver bullet they slam, they get one important reroll. I mean, that sounds amazing.
You don't even like Coors Light.
I know. I can't stand beer, but I would just do it with wine. I'd swap them out. That's where I get in trouble anyways. God, you accidentally drink at the same level pace as other people do. I drink wine, other people drink beer, and then I end up in another dimension. So
Hey, wait a second. We've had this happen between you and I before. I drink double scotches. You drink one glass of wine. You're still behind.
no, then I just, oh God. So in the story that you're trying to tell, after we had several drinks, I decided that I could keep up with you, and that's when I laid on your floor.
Yeah.
So it didn't work.
And I'm going to convince everybody at one event, Brad, to just bring you a pair of pants.
I was so angry.
All right, so back on topic.
Back on topic. Yeah, well, the thing is like there's a lot of like, as a whole, would you rather play at a very competitive event, a super fun event? You know, when I say super fun, I don't mean that competitive event can't be super fun. I mean like more like a super casual event. And would it be singles or teams?
So for me, super casual events, you can do them either way. Matt, O, and Anna are actually talking about one of the things that I've done and had a lot of fun with, where we've done charity events where you can buy extra CP for X amount of donation to whatever the charity is. Like we did one with, for a food kitchen. We've done them for dog and, cat rescue places and stuff like that, where it's like during the game, I'm out of CP. Oh, that requires $10 worth of donations to the thing. Here's $10. We raising money for charity, and you're playing just casual at that point. We all realize it, and you get your CP reroll, and just stuff like that. It's very enjoyable. I like more laid back events the older I get, I guess, because although I still enjoy playing in the hyper competitive events, I like having a lot of fun with my toy soldiers.
What about yourself, Brandon? What do you go to a lot of either? You're like me on that fact that you go to both.
I mean, the events that I prefer are the events where I can hang out with people. So I've been to events all across the United States and Europe now at this point. And the events that I'm truly enjoying myself most at are the ones where I'm hanging out with people and having a good time. And there's some events that just lay into that a little better than other events. For example, this year ATC was fantastic because we all went back to the cabin. We were having drinks, we were cooking out on the grill, we were playing games and
That was
staying up
such
till
a
3
good
a.m.
tournament. Yes.
And it was fun. Like, was it a competitive event? Yes. Did we have a competitive team? Yeah. New edition kind of hurt, but we had a good time before, during, and then it was a very memorable experience. But then I go to an event like Rocky Top when all my friends are at Motor City Mayhem, and I just went to the event that's 20 minutes from my house. I didn't have nearly as a good time because I wasn't hanging out with anybody. I wasn't having fun. I wasn't having that conversation. And it's not because it was a bad event. It's just because everyone I knew and wanted to hang out with went elsewhere. So I think for me, when I'm choosing events of where are my friends going to go and who can I hang out with? Like, can I share a hotel room with them? Or are we getting there early to hang out and get dinner and drinks? Are we going to, this is single player or team event. Now, if it's a team event, you're guaranteeing that your friends are going to be there. Single player, you don't necessarily have that guarantee.
Why teams are the best. Also, going to the wall real quick because this is a Brian question. Brian, do you have any insight as a tournament organizer what it would take investment-wise to get an RTT-style 3-man team tournament to be a regular occurrence?
So I mean, it depends on how many tables you have to start with, right? So 3-man teams, you want to have 8 people, so you need 24 tables worth of terrain. If you go with the affordable terrain sets that are available out there, the company I'm going to discuss with everybody is the people who make WTC's terrain. They call themselves Weyland-Yutani. Surprise, surprise. They have WTC sets. They're about, I think it's 110 euros for a set plus shipping to the US. And it's roughly $1 to $1 now for $1 to €1 now, or right around that. So you can get a table for $150-ish shipped. And then you need a mat, which you can buy from one of the many companies, Table War, Frontline Gaming, Fifth Trooper. There's quite a few of them out there that are available, and most of them have discounts for TOs of 25, 30, 40%, depending on which one you go with. So you're looking at $200 a table. You can do the math on that. You're looking at under $1,000 to get it going, and then you have 24 tables of terrain for wherever you're playing. That will probably cover you forever for everything.
Style. And that's a big thing on that. It's weird that we're behind everywhere else in the team event thing. And I've said this for a while, that I think that I would go to the occasional singles thing, but if we had a dedicated team tournament circuit, and Zach was just bringing that up and what he was talking about, the ATC circuit, things like the ATC circuit, the championship cups and stuff like that, I'm 100% behind all of that, because I would rather play only team events and the occasional singles thing for just shits and giggles kind of thing, because I enjoy. Here's the reason I like it so much, especially as a competitive player that plays. I place very highly most of the time. I can't say all the time, but it's a new tournament almost every round. You know what I mean? Like if we're playing right now and we're in our 5-man or 3-man or 8-man or whatever, and I lose, something happens in a game, dice, whatever, you know what I mean? And you lose, every point counts. And the very next round, it's a whole new deal. You basically slap me in the face and say, stop bitching, put your tears away. We got to, next game is the next game, and we need your points. And I love that point, because sometimes you go to an event and you're like, oh, I lost a game, I can no longer win. And you see people drop and stuff like that, which I'm against, play the whole tournament. But, they think that I no longer can do whatever I wanted to do. In a team tournament, it's a big deal that you're there every single game, and you're there every single game for your friends. You know what I mean? They count on you to not just throw in the towel.
Yeah. If I had my druthers, I would love to run nothing but 3- and 5-man teams events, because number one, I can sell that as an experience, as a TO. I can sell it as an experience, right? 100% can sell you the experience of coming with your friends. You get a room together, like the things you can do when you're doing this and looking at it in a setting, right? So if you do a 3-man teams event, you get a room, you get a ticket, entrance, everything set, one price. Because you can talk with the hotel, you can negotiate room rates, you can negotiate everything, and then you have a ticketed rate that encompasses all that, so you know what you're getting. And when those people show up, they know the only expense they have is their food, their drink, right? What you have whenever you go to an event anyways. So you're not thinking of the event of, I'll use this as a dollar example. I don't know if it's the correct dollar, but let's say it's $500 for the ticket for a 3-man team for a 2-day event. It's probably not that high depending upon what market you're in, what type of hotel you use, but we'll just use that as the figure. All right, so it's $500 split amongst 3 people. Whatever, it's not that ridiculous for a weekend's worth of fun. And then food. If you then include food in that ticket, and you can get it, well, let's say for $600, so it's $200 a person for a weekend. I've spent way more than that at events for a weekend, without a doubt. Going to a singles event for $100 for the ticket, splitting a room, 2 ways, because a lot of times that's what you end up doing, is you go with one buddy. So it seems like it's something that could be done and managed fairly well if you can work out the logistics in the area that you're in, and you do it somewhere where it's a destination. Like I firmly believe that you have to do it in a big city with a big airport, or at least very close to a big city with a big airport.
Agreed. So
because
much
then you can draw from everywhere.
So speaking of team events, I know there's been a couple mentions of it in the comments, but so there's the big one that was announced, what, 2 days ago? That's happening in California. And there's also the ATC circuit that was announced a couple weeks ago, where their first event's in Kansas City, then they have an event in Tennessee, an event North Carolina.
Yeah,
What do you
away
guys?
game sponsoring that with
Yeah.
ATC, if I remember correctly. Yeah, just to give them their plug because they deserve it.
100%.
So are we finally at a point where team events are going to be more common? Because I know Battle for Salvation has their team event. I think it's going to be part of that circuit. I would love to see Death or Glory put a team event together. We have all the tables and resources. So we have the major investment, just finding someone to organize it.
Part of it's not just the organizing it, it's finding that venue. That's the one sticking point, and this is the one thing that I always say as a TO and as an event organizer. Finding that venue where you don't have to worry about losing your shirt if the ticket sales don't go well. Because we kind of know what our baseline is of like, this is how many we can guarantee to sell based upon our friend group and our normal area. Even if we don't do amazing marketing, we can kind of get this many people together. Like, I know we could probably get 23-man teams without a ton of work amongst the Death or Glory group. I'm going to say very easily, right? Giving us 60 people. All right, what venue can I find where I can charge a reasonable sum, have a comfortable venue, and go? So you got to look at that, and you have to make sure that balancing point. And if it sells out really, really fast, great. That means the next year, because you're going to get good buzz, because you're going to throw a good event, everybody's going to have fun. Next year, you can grow it a little bit and find a slightly bigger venue and move down the road a little bit. Or maybe that venue has more space and you can get another room at the venue. You have to look at all of that stuff. I think the capabilities here. I just think that because America is the way that America is, with the way the almighty dollar kind of rules things, some convention spaces and everybody look at the commodities a lot more valuable than what we're bringing, because I'm going to use like a wedding venue place and where is a spot where you run a lot of 40K tournaments, a lot of hotels, things like that. Well, a 6x4 table area space that accommodates 2 people for a wedding and accommodates 6 to 8 that you can fit in that same space. So they're charging for their square footage based upon that. And we can't quite accommodate that dollar wise. So there's a careful tipping point. I'll say that all the time, but I don't want to bore everybody with that crazy detail. But it's something you have to take into effect.
Oh, KR coming trying to put that evil on me. Yeah, he's like, let's see how they do before we switch everything over. Nah, making that happen, baby.
I mean, number one, ATC does a decent job most of the time with their events. Yes, I've heard of terrain issues and stuff like that, but they try really hard and they try to put on a very good fun event. FLG does run decent events. They're organized well. Kicker does a fantastic job promoting them. Their judge team does a pretty decent job answering questions on their spreadsheets, as long as you know where to find them. I think they're going to be a success no matter what we do. I think those two people, those two groups putting those together will be fine. I think Death or Glory can definitely get it done.
I'm a big fan, obviously, of the teams and stuff. And I'd like to see, I love the growth. I love the big tournaments and stuff. But I am worried that we're going to get, I don't want to get a Magic the Gathering vibe. You know what I mean? I want people to be very competitive. I love animated comment earlier. One of my favorite things about teams, for instance, is the preparation work, getting your matrix ready, figuring out what armies are good against, what other armies on what terrain boards, and this and that, going back and forth. I love that, the game within the game of that. It's just a lot of fun. And I love being competitive, but I don't want to be sweaty competitive, as KR said earlier. It's literally one of the reasons why I'm choosing my tournaments for the rest of the year. Besides not wanting to die somewhere else, I want to go to things that are a little more casual, because a lot of times 40K is the fourth thing that I want to do on the weekend, even at that tournament. I want to chill. I want to go eat dinner. I want to have some drinks. I want to catch up with people that I don't get to see that often, or I only get to see them at the tournament. So I want to spend quality time. So the game a lot of times is at a lot of different tournaments. Not to say that I don't like playing 40K, which I do. I love playing with my toys. But there's a lot of times where the game is something that I'm doing at the same time as everybody else, and I just happen to be doing it.
Yeah. So Matt O asked about the Northeast getting some more events. Don't forget that Everwinter exists. The people that are putting that on in Boston area are doing a nice job. We also have myself. We have Salt City. We have Du Bois GT, which are both in New York. And never forget about the Battle for Salvation people. They do a great job. The big thing is there's no outside of Frontlines Atlantic City Open. There is no massive, like 256 person Northeast thing. I would love to convince Games Workshop that somewhere in central New York, there's a great spot for that.
You're like holding arrows up pointing to you. You're like right here. Beep, beep, beep.
I mean, there's two spots here that are absolutely fantastic for it that Games Workshop, because they're a $1 billion company, can afford to take the little bit of it wouldn't be for risk for them because it would make money no matter what they did. But they could go into our giant convention center that's right here in downtown Syracuse and have everything their heart desires there. And for people who have been at Salt City, the convention center is like a minute walk from where I've held Salt City. And there's tons of options. It's by a large downtown area that's within short walking distance with like 40 restaurants. So it's really, it would be an amazing event. But well, I digress.
I like the idea. Danny says, would you play 40K in a barn or outdoors? And I actually have played in small events, like usually tiny events on that we played in tents, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Small tent deals. And we played in backyards. Gary Frank ran one. CK does a little get together at his house. Gary ran a COVID tournament basically, where it was all tents on his property in his backyard and the garage and everything else. He had a decent amount of people there, but like those are really, really fun. They are very weather dependent though. And can get jacked up, but I did enjoy just being outside, because that is one of the things, especially when you go to a 3-day event or a 3 or 4 day event, when you feel sometimes that you've been locked up in a dungeon, you're like, oh, the light. So it's
and I 100%, if I could find a barn venue around me where I could do something, I'd put on a weekend event, even if it was just for 30 players, and have a good time.
I think you need more of a static open structure than a tent. I feel like a tent's too much of a liability.
Yeah, but just saying
it's just too weather dependent.
Yeah,
right? Like I would totally do it, but it's just very weather dependent.
I don't mind that. I mean, I would really like. We haven't even touched on this yet. I would like more things to happen like Cruisehammer, to be honest with you. Brian and I have been talking about this for a while, making some, resort type destination 40K things where you have 32 people at an event and you get food included, like real good, like not again, here's pizza, hot dogs or some shit, but like real food, and you sit with people and you have an experience with these other players for the entire weekend.
Brad, you've been to what Can Hammer runs, where they bring in a nice buffet, some decent food. They do a lot of pre-planning for it by asking people if they have allergies, all that good stuff as well. Mm-hmm. And they put on a nice spread, and even though it's a buffet, number one, it's included in your ticket price, which is absolutely fantastic. I will always love that. And it's a good time because you get to sit, and a lot of times you're sitting with the guys that you just played in the previous round, talking about games, going over stuff, laughing about funny moments that happen in somebody's game that you didn't get to witness, and it's camaraderie and good times. I think that's 90% of the reason that Brad and I'm probably Brandon, go to these events.
Yeah, I'm so big on that. It's just, and I want more of that. And I take nothing away from competitive. I go to competitive events. You know what I mean? I play very competitively, but I'm always going to give the take back. To be honest with you, you never want anybody to feel shitty after games. So you want to be excited. I want to be drinking and drink going, that fucker Brandon and his goddamn 12-inch charge. That's hilarious. That's what I want to talk about. You know what I mean? You want to be bitching about some random dice thing or some goofy move that happened. Those are the most fun things, You don't want to be like, hey, remember the time you forgot your reserves? Gotcha. Just,
It's like a couple of people were talking with me, and this is just we're talking about venues you could hold events in, right? How many somewhat vacant malls are there currently in the U.S.?
all of them.
Right? So you have
Way
all
too
this
many.
open space, right? Really, if you go to those places and go, look, we just want to rent your hallways. We don't need you to open up any of the rooms or anything. We just want to rent your hallways, put tables down for the day. In the dead section of your mall or the Sears that went out, whatever, just turn the lights on, sweep the floor. We pretty much will be happy with that. And let's bring in food trucks outside and we're going to be good to go.
I still have flashbacks to one of the original ATCs where they did hold it in the mall, and I just had open heart surgery, and I'm with these bums, and I had to play 2 games in a row underneath the freaking Death Star planet exploder beam, which was this stupid skylight, and they put a table right underneath it, and it was... I don't even get very hot usually because my blood barely flows. I'm undead. Holy God, was that the worst table ever? You're just like, people's models were legitimately starting to melt and drip. It was fucking crazy. You just had this beam of death. Like, whose idea was this?
Totally exaggerating.
Mm-hmm.
But that same event, I did roll to see what side I was going to be on, and I chose the side not in the laser death beam, just so my opponent literally lost, just because he could not handle the heat.
Oh, man.
I think Niagara Falls is too expensive.
So believe it or not, the Niagara Falls Convention Center is not terrible because I've been looking at doing, look, it's my backyard area. Anything within 3 hours of where I am for a venue right now, I've been kind of looking at. The Niagara Falls Convention Center is not as terrible as I thought it would be. And there are 2 giant, because there's actually 3 giant casinos that are not too far from where I am. There's Del Lago Casino, Turning Stone Casino, and then there's one in Batavia Downs that all have space. So
I like
trust
that.
me, I'm working the end right now, my friend.
I've been up there for the Canadians. The Canadians run some good tournaments.
Yep.
I've been up there. Good times. They're good peeps.
Canhammer Teams event is still, number one, it sells out almost instantaneously when they announce it. It's one of the best events I've ever been to.
I am going to need the controversial one on this. Why are you guys so big on your stupid, overrated coffee shop? Shots fired. There's one every 11 feet. I thought people had a lot of Starbucks down here. Holy God, do they have those? Yeah. Jesus. I lost my train of thought on that one thinking about that.
So,
But-
Brad, we got about 12 minutes. Did you want to discuss that event they just announced at all?
Yeah, we've been talking the championship cup and stuff like that. Let me go to Super Chat real quick. Why not Super Chat? All right, Brad, upping the ante. Can I get you for the ATC circuit events? Not ATC itself in July, but the February and April ones. I would love to, but my team's already yelling. We have an overbooked team as it is right now. Pretty sure I'm going to a 5-man team tournament with 7 current active people on my team. So I would get yelled. I would get hit in the head. Tom would show up behind me like an assassin. Just choke me out and pull me away.
So where is February and April? I know there's coming up one, next month in Kansas?
We got Kansas, and somebody give me the ATC lineup, please, in chat. I was going to look for it, but I was like, my internet skills are so feeble compared to others. It's all of the thing, some of the time. I did tell you guys that I accidentally went through the Nexus Pass thing, didn't I? And the guy, I was so bummed at my ineptitude that he just let me through. He was just like, you suck so bad, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Just go ahead and go. And I was like, yes! Being
What
in
is TVB?
Battle Brothers.
Oh, okay. That must be the North Carolina one. All right. So Brad already has a team? Interesting.
I've
Who's
got
on your team, Brad? Who are the 7 people on your team?
I would give you one, pajamas, and then move on. Then we'll fight from that. Pajamas and Tom, and then we'll fight from there. everybody's got their list of who they think's on the team right now. And as usual, I use my executive decisions to not be involved when people are fighting about stuff. I'm like, everyone else will figure it out. I'll just show up.
Of course, the thing that Brandon was trying to bring up was FLG announced their big teams event, which is going to be an 8-man teams event. We don't have a ton of information on it currently, but they have put out an application process from what I saw. I quick read it while at work yesterday and went, all right, this looks like it's going to be interesting. It'll be fun to try and get a team together.
I'm excited for these big teams. I actually really like 8-man. I know it's really hard, and Mike had put it in, earlier. Both you talked about it a little bit also, Brian, is yes, it's significantly hard to coordinate and manage the more players you get on a team, with everything from rooms to drops to tables to everything else. But man, the bigger team event is so tactical and it's so fun, and the diversity of armies is so crazy. You know what I mean? Because you have to have 8 different unique factions on the team, you get people like bringing all their dark horse picks are so much different. And I just love everything about that pairing structure on that.
So is the event actually FLG? Or is it
Yes.
in partnership with them?
It's
introducing the team event you've been waiting for. Championship Cups, an 8-man team. Introducing the Championship Cup. Posted by Kicker on Frontline Gaming's website.
and
I'm going to put the link in the comment if the bot will let me. It did. How about that? So you can go there and read specifically what it is. There's not a metric ton of detail, but Sean Naden is their format specialist. Stephen Corrales is their community liaison, and Kicker is organizing it. So clearly it's an FLG event.
Awesome.
There's a Championship Cup Club application that you have to go to. It is being held in Southern California in October of 2024.
I forgot that Corrales had that insane mustache. I'm like,
Oh, it's a glorious mustache.
oh Jesus!
So I'm reading here. It's in collaboration. Is this not just a Team America event that they're trying to find the best people for the team?
No, not even
I don't
close.
know.
I mean, number one, they have an application process. It's going to be after WTC
Mm-hmm.
because it happens in October. WTC happens in July next year. So, or August.
No,
sorry.
August, yeah.
It'll be
August.
August again.
Well, ATC's in July. That's in August. So anyway, but it's going to be it's nice to have a big style teams event here.
Yeah, I did. I love this, and I've talked to some of the guys that are behind this, and they're looking to have this be something that travels each year somewhere. Like basically every year, Champions Cup will be in a different venue somewhere else. Giving people different chances to have it in their community and stuff like that. And I love that. And if we could get more of these, it'd be great. If we had an ATC circuit and a Champions Cup circuit, it would be fantastic to me. I would literally only play in these events. It would be I would love it. I would just go narrative and team events. There you go. That's what I would start doing.
Perfect.
But it's legit on that. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's just, once you start playing team events, you're like, oh yeah, these are way better. Just say you move on with your life. So I do love it.
I still think it's mainly a Team America event. Because even Anna's backing me up, and so is Matt. It's like, it sounds like it is a recruiting tool to help formalize Team America.
Sure. I don't really care how they're,
I know you don't care. I know you don't care, but that's what it seems like to me.
I look at the
Because
tournament.
it just appeared out of nowhere.
Sure, but whatever reasons, I don't really care if you're going to put out something awesome, but you have some other nefarious plans that go with it. I don't care. They don't hurt me at all.
Nefarious plans.
They did, Matt. They did say that they have limited space for the thing, but they're going to try to figure out if they can get more, depending on basically. You have to see what kind of response you get. You know what I mean? And then they go from there. To be honest with you, because no one wants to go, hey, I'm going to put down $100,000 to an event and go, I hope everything works out. So, gentlemen, promote some stuff. Hit your channels, hit your events. Tell me about what's coming up for you.
So the big thing I want to promote right now is Rumble at the Rivers, Death or Glory's first Indiana event. If you're somewhere in the Midwest and you want to plan a good fun event, stop out, check it out. It's a 2-day event. It should be a ton of fun. I'll be there judging. Brad will be there in all of his silliness, and it's going to be a good time. Come support Death or Glory. We would greatly appreciate it.
You got to support your own event too. The week
Well,
after.
I have the week after Du Bois GT. If you really want a ticket for 30K, we have some tickets available for 30K. I think there's a couple for AOS left. I think 40K sold out.
So my channel is Still Frosty Gaming. It's on YouTube. I have a website, stillfrostygaming.com, where I talk about a bunch of hobby stuff. Just recently I did a tutorial on how to make some scatter terrain just from some scratch pieces of balsa wood. So it's pretty cool. So check it out. Definitely appreciate a like or a follow. And I might work on one of Brad's future projects whenever he can make a commitment.
I have problems with that. With that being said, everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. As usual, leave comments in there to help us do better stuff. And until then, Queenswave, we're out of here.
Bye, everyone.